you asked me what the
Your decision finding.
why did I come to Eagle Vistas, and the reason I came to Eagle Vistas is I looked around at the other ag schools and was really impressed with what Randy Berry had to say about safety and about operating smartly. And it's the way, I've been flying for 27 years, and that kind of an attitude is very important. When you, other people will talk more about money that you can make, or, that's if that's the important thing to you is the money, get out of aviation. The safety is the important part. You can make money in aviation, but safety is important, and having a good time, having fun while you're doing it is important. So those were kind of the reasons I came to Eagle Vistas.
And you were referring to the videos. You checked them out on YouTube or on the website?
Yeah, one of the big draws for me coming to Eagle Vistas was the YouTube videos. Being able to see what Randy was putting out there, and not only the quality of the information he had to pass on, but the attitude about safety was paramount, and I really liked that.
What was your impression about the competitors' videos?
Well, again, little red flags. Well, first there was really only one or two other videos out there, but the little red flags popped up when they were talking about how much money you can make, or how exciting it is, and those are important things. But safety comes first, and if you can teach that culture of safety and promote that culture of safety, that's what I was looking for.
So, what was your first day of arrival? What was your impression? You get an image in your head, okay, and how did this compare to real life?
When I first walked in the door, my first impression was very neat, very orderly, very organized. I was greeted almost immediately. You were out on the front porch, and you acknowledged me, and I came in. There were other students in here. They acknowledged me, and I realized that, okay, this is, there's a community here. It's not just, okay, give us your money and go fly and we're done. There was a little bit of a family atmosphere, and I liked that. I appreciated that. And, when you showed me around the area, and the airplanes are in really good shape. The hangar's meticulous, and that all indicates, what kind of operation you're looking at, those little details.
Yeah, that was kind of like my next question is what your impression was about the aircraft that you were flying with.
My initial impression on the aircraft, when you walk up to them, they're working airplanes, obviously, so they're not showpieces, but you don't necessarily need a showpiece to have a safe airplane. When you start taking a look at them, they're well maintained. There's not oil splatters everywhere. There's not fuel leaking out. Immediately my impression was, this is a good, well-run, safe operation.
So no chitty bang bang?
No, nothing like that. No magic carpet ride.
Oh, okay. Now, you were presented with a student handbook, and what was your impression? That was part of the check-in process. What was your impression about the whole check-in process and your student handbook?
Well, again, when I first got here, the check-in process was smooth. It was fast. It was you were recognized immediately when you came through the door and welcomed. And the handbook itself is very orderly, very well laid out. There's a step-by-step process that you take to get somebody from zero ag time to being competent to be able to go out, and confident to be able to go out and do the job. There's still a lot of learning ahead, but you have a good, solid foundation. And part of that foundation that you guys build is starting out with a good curriculum and a good syllabus. And it's very orderly in the step-by-step building block process.
Is there anything At any point of your training, is there anything that you were missing?
I don't feel like there was anything that was necessarily missing. As we went through the training, I made some suggestions, and my instructor immediately recognized from his working in ag that there was a little bit better way of doing the maps that we use to locate the fields. And he used a program at work that he purchases himself to make it easier to identify the fields. We then sat down and we looked at the fields around here, and it was much easier to identify that. So, it's not a perfect process when you come in. It's a work in progress, but you guys were very open to suggestions. And
actually, it's going to be. I'm working on the maps to be a part of the handbook.
Yeah, and that right there, to me, coming in from an airline background and from a general aviation background, but not a farming background, being able to identify a specific farm field as opposed to flying cross country and going, okay, this city's here, this river's here, I'm going in the right direction. To be able to identify a specific field among other fields was a task, and by improving that with that technology, that mapping technology, that made it a lot easier. Had we not done that, I wouldn't have really thought of it as a deficiency, but it was something we were able to improve. The videos you have available are good. The instructors themselves are always available to answer questions and do so in an easy to understand manner. So,
compared to other schools, when you talk to about instructors' availability, was your expectation to be sitting in a classroom and you have, your instructor in front of the board and you're sitting there with 2, 3, 5, 10 others?
The ground school portion of it, I wasn't really expecting a classroom atmosphere. As a matter of fact, I wasn't really looking for a classroom atmosphere. Again, being around aviation 27 years, you find that your best learning oftentimes is in an informal atmosphere, one-on-one, or in a group setting where people are just talking, and you may have a question that everybody else is thinking, but they don't want to, look silly and ask that question, but you do, and everybody, learns from it. And somebody may ask a question that you had absolutely no idea about, whereas in a formal, rigid school classroom setting, you don't always have that interaction or that ability to learn from the other students as well as from the instructor. So I immediately liked what I saw here. The instructors are sitting around with the students in a very collegiate atmosphere. Everybody's kind of just interacting in a very informal basis, and a lot of information is exchanged that way. So it's actually a little easier to learn that way for me.
Okay, so we were talking about what you were missing in your training, or what kind of improvements you had, and you pointed out the maps and identifying fields. Now, what was the most significant positive experience for you during your training here?
So you asked for what was the most significant piece of education that I've received during my time here. That's difficult to say, because from the first day flying the tail wheel and basic acrobatics introductory course, I've learned something every day. I've learned something every flight. So it's a little difficult to say. But overall, I would say the most significant thing is that I have a new respect, an increased respect for the ag operators that do this 7, 8, 10, 12 hours a day. It's exhausting. And I had a feeling that it would be, having done other types of flying that are similar, but it's a very intense focused type of flying that you just don't really find anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Okay.